Welcome to the Point Prox Video Series. Each episode will cover a specific part of the practice of project management in a short format. Most of the videos will focus on how to use automation and productivity tools for software implementation or development efforts. However, the techniques and processes reviewed can be applied to other types of projects. You are embarking on a multi-part series that will explore Microsoft Project's scheduling formula. The execution and management of the scheduling formula is one of the things that makes Project more than just a spreadsheet with some fancy drawing tools. The formula controls how durations, work, and resource usages are calculated. It can be mysterious and confusing until you get completely comfortable with how it works in practice. In this first part of the exploration of the scheduling formula, we will be reviewing basic concepts and definitions that will help with your understanding of this feature. We will explore the functioning of the formula itself, and finally, we'll go over examples to see how the formula is first applied to tasks. The example project and presentation documents used in this video are available from the Point Prox website. If you want to follow along, you should go and download them. To understand the project scheduling formula, we'll need to understand the elements of which it is comprised. For each task on a schedule, there are three elements that need to be considered to be able to calculate scheduling. These are work, duration, and units. Work is the amount of effort required to complete a task. Work is typically expressed in hours, but this can be changed if desired. Duration is the length of time on a calendar that will be required to complete the work for a task. Essentially, it is the amount of time that will take the resources to complete the task at their allocation levels. Duration is generally expressed in business days, but this can also be changed. Units are the percentage of a resource's available time that is assigned to a task. It is a measure of level of effort. Units are usually expressed as a percentage, which is the portion of the work time indicated by the calendar that a resource is assigned to. Although this is a simple definition of what units are, it will suffice for our discussion here. In this video, we will be focusing on what Project calls work resources. Although Project supports cost and material resources, work resources are the most common for software implementation or development projects. A work resource is that which performs work over time, for example, a staff member. There are two refinements to the definition of units that need to be discussed. The first is maximum units, which is the number of a resource's hours available to the project over a period of time. Essentially, it is the percentage of the total working time for the calendar that the resource is assigned to that is available to the project. The next variation of units is assignment units, which is the percentage of a resource's total working time that is assigned to a task. When a resource is assigned to a task, Project will assign the total maximum units up to 100% as the assignment units. You can think of it this way. Maximum units are the total work for which a resource is available to the project, and assignment units is the actual level of effort expended on a task. Which brings us to the scheduling formula the project uses to calculate these three elements: duration, assignment units, and work. The scheduling formula is quite simple. So how does this thing work? Let's start with a simple example. Let's say we have a task that has a specified duration of 10 days. We will assign one staff member who has a maximum units of 100% of a 40-hour week to this task. On execution of the scheduling formula, we see that the task will take 80 hours of work. In other words, 2 weeks for one resource at 40 hours a week for that resource. Okay, now let's see all of this in action. To save time, we've set up a schedule document in advance. If you are following along with the example documents, we are now showing the project document, Point Prox Schedule Formula Part 1, Start. We've set up tasks to be automatically scheduled and are using the standard calendar, which has a 40-hour work week by default. We've added a number of resources in the resource sheet. The first resource is assigned exclusively to the project as indicated by the 100% maximum units. The next resource is assigned at half-time level to the project. We can see this because their maximum units is at 50%. Essentially, this resource works on the project for 20 hours a week. The third entry in the resource sheet is a team resource. It is the equivalent of 80 hours of work it can do per week as indicated by the maximum units being set to 200%. How this team is composed is not of interest at this point. It could be 2 staff at 40 hours per week, 4 staff at half-time, or some other combination. And finally, we have 2 additional full-time staff members. Returning to the Gantt chart view, you can see that we've inserted the work field as a column. We've also added tasks to exercise the scheduling formula with some examples. So we can see what is happening as we assign resources. We'll open a task form in a split screen. We use the View ribbon to split the screen and select the version of the task form we want. Click on the Details checkbox in the Split View group. This will show the details display on a split on the bottom of the screen. We'll want to select the Work option from the context menu as it will display most of the information we are interested in seeing. The task form gives us a lot of information about what a project is doing when executing the scheduling formula. It is important to understand how a project performs when resources are first assigned, as it is different from when assignments are edited. On first assignment, it will use the basic form of the formula, that is, work equals duration times units. For our first example, we are going to start off easy. We are going to assign 1 full-time resource to a 2-week task full of their time. We'll assign the resource by just typing their name into the resource column for the task. Okay, so what just happened here? Project calculated the task will take 80 hours of work, in other words, 2 weeks, for 1 resource at 40 hours a week for that resource. We can see the details of the assignment on the task form. The resource is assigned to the task for the total work of 80 hours at 100% allocation. Let's try an example where we have a staff member that is only allocated to the project at a maximum units of 50%. In other words, they are only available half of their calendar time. Here we'll use a different way to assign resources by employing the Assign Resources dialog. The Assign Resources dialog is available from the Resources ribbon. Click on the half-time resource, then click on the Assign button. Project will assign the resource at their maximum units, in this case 50%, and then calculate work based on the basic formula. We can see that Project assigned the resource accordingly, and then calculated the work for the task. In this case, the result is a calculated work of 40 hours, that is 2 weeks, for 1 resource that has half of a 40-hour week available. For a more complex example, let's assume we have a team that has the equivalent of 2 40-hour per week resources available for our 10-day task. In this case, we'll use the Task Information dialog to manage the resource assignment. The Task Information dialog is available from the Task ribbon. Once the dialog is open, click on the Resources tab. Project assigned the team resource at the indicated assignment units. This turns out to be 160 hours of work, that is, 2 weeks, for 2 full-time equivalent resources at 40 hours a week for each. For our last example, we'll assume we have 2 full-time individual resources available for our task. Although one can work full-time, The other can only work a quarter time as they will be doing something else for the project at the same time. For this example, we use the task information dialog again. The task information dialog is good for complex resource assignments. Given how frequently the task information dialog is used in project, a quick way to open it is to use the keyboard shortcut of Shift F2. The Shift F2 combination is a real time saver. The Resources tab on the task information dialog allows you to set up all the resources by entering them directly, change allocations, and make sure everything is ready before executing the assignments. We'll assign 2 full-time resources by using the Type Ahead feature. As you can see, project is defaulting to 100% for each resource. However, one of the staff is only available for quarter time on the task. We'll indicate this condition by typing 25% into their units column. Now we have 1 staff member assigned at full time and 1 at quarter time. To effect the assignment and execute the scheduling formula, click the OK button. Project assigned the 2 staff members at the units we indicated. This turns out to be 100 hours of work, that is, 2 weeks for 1 full-time resource at 40 hours a week, and an additional 10 hours a week across 2 weeks for our quarter-time resource. So that covers the basic execution of the project scheduling formula. On the next scheduling formula episode from the Point Prox Video Series, we will be covering how project manages the formula when we change one of the elements for a task that already has resources assigned. This will go into the sometimes confusing topic of task types and the effort scheduling flag. You can find the episode on the Point Prox website or on YouTube. Thanks for taking time to watch our video. Point Prox is a technical project management, business analysis, and software development practice. We have a range of clients from startups to Global 2000 corporations. We use software development and implementation methodologies that provide high-quality product in reasonable time frames and with smart requirements management. Point Prox employs an approach to project management based on the industry-standard Project Management Institute's established practices. Contact us to see how we can help you on your next project. If you would like to review more episodes in the Point Prox Video Series or review information concerning Point Prox in general, please visit our website at pointprox.com. See you next time.